Good morning, everybody. We just wanted to go through the AFT ruling that dropped yesterday. Wanted to take a day and go through the PowerPoints, go through the videos, sit through their lecture before going into it. But the next 19-minute video is basically just dissecting their PowerPoint click by click, and then we sat through the 90-minute Q&A, listened to all the questions, and picked up all the points having to do with the Micro Ronis, 6-position stocks, and all that. They were extremely clear on everything. Basically, if it has a brace on it, it's an SBR now. Your Micro Ronis are basically marketed to be rifles. They need an SBR. To do that, you actually have to SBR the Glock 19 or whatever you're going to put in it. So further clarification is you do not need to add markings. You can adopt the markings already on it as long as it has markings on it. So if you have an arrow lower with serial number ABC 123456, you're completely fine. You just use that for your SBR. So what they've done is they have now created a registry. They've admitted that they are expecting to receive 150,000 tax stamps a day up through May 31st, and they have no expectations on a time frame. They've stated that you will print your application if you have not received your stamp approval back by May 31st. You will use your SBR submission proof as your compliance method for the new ruling. So be sure to print it out and carry it with you if you take it to the range, if you go anywhere with it, anything like that. Facts are facts. That the point of this is if they catch a bad guy shooting up, they have additional charges to lay on them. And by creating this firearm registry, they can slow down the currency behind these firearms. You can't take your stamped arrow braced 11-inch pistol to the gun show now and trade it for a hunting revolver and a optic per se, because nobody wants to wait 6 to 9 months for that stamp to transfer. So what they've done is basically removed these firearms from the availability to be passed around unnoticed, and they've made it to where they are in control actually of where they are, and they know where they're at. And by registering it with them through the NFTNR, then they have basically removed the firearms from circulation, which is the entire point. So they're finding back doors, they're finding back ways, and it's going to continue. We all know it's this administration, so it is what it is. Anyway, the next 19 minutes is the slideshow. In order to be part of the meeting, we weren't supposed to record the meeting because the ATF didn't give us permission, but we were obviously permitted to do the slideshow because it's public information available on their website. And then my voice is over top of it, just explaining the good, very little good, actually, most of it bad. So feel free to skip through. If you have any questions, just give me a shout. JerryC@thebulletranch.com. Do not proclaim to be an expert, but I can always find out the answer from somebody here who is and get back to you as fast as we can. You can always call the shop, 740-964-1787. We're here for you. We've got the fingerprint machine. We can get your EFT file. We'll help you with your Form 1s, anything you need. We'll probably do a video next on how to actually do the Form 1 for those that just don't even know where to start. So let us know how to help. All right, good morning, everybody. We just sat through the entire hour and a half ATF meeting about the final rule 2021R. So I just wanted to flip through the PowerPoint and give you the goodies on what I picked up. It's Jerry at the Bullet Ranch. Obviously, you guys are picking this up off of our Facebook page. So most of you know we're here for you. So anything you need, just let us know. Let us know what your questions are. So let's flip through it and I'll hit these as we go. So we all know what this is. We all know what the definition of a rifle is. We've been, battling this for years. Yeah, you put a brace on your 1911 and now it's a rifle, not a brace, but a stock. It's absolutely insanity. Basically, what they're saying is they are reversing their deal on braces and now considering them as stocks. Here's the original deal. They submitted it. Of course, handicap, everything else, and America does what America does, and we find loopholes. So, in the actual video on the question part from the ATF, they actually said there were 40 million of these in circulation, and the ATF refuted that because there was no evidence to back that claim up. So, as a guy that owns 4 or 5 of these, I have to make a decision myself on what I'm going to do. So you take your average AR enthusiast and assume that we each have a couple. 40 million could be a very light estimate, actually. So the rifle states that design, redesigned, made or remade, blah, blah, blah. Basically the big thing is it's designed to be fired from the shoulder. This is what they're leaning back against because of the brace. This makes it a rifle. So they're saying they want to move forward in making it to where the tax stamps are free until this is gone, so they can create you a rifle from your braced pistol. So it was signed by the AG January 13th, 23, published Federal Registry January 31st. Final rule is effective. What that means, you cannot transfer any AR pistols any longer with a brace on it. Braces have to come off. Now, there was some words before where they thought that the AR pistols, if it had a 6-position tube on it, that had to be changed to a pistol tube. That has been clarified. It does not. If the tube is required to make the pistol function, it doesn't matter if it's got the 6 slots in it or not. So it does not have to be changed to a pistol tube, so that's good news. Just that the brace has to come off, and at that point it just becomes a part. So for the 07 guys out there, it's fine to be just laying around as a part. You're not going to get in trouble for just having it. We have 120 days to get all your Form 1s in. They were very clear that they have no idea how they plan on processing 150,000 stamps per day, and they have made no changes to e-forms in order to process them. Matter of fact, when the question was brought up on what they had done for the influx of stamps about to come their way, they actually got a little shitty about it and didn't answer. They basically acted like it wouldn't be a problem, which we all know this is going to be a shit show. So not real sure what they're thinking. They did state if you did not get your answer back by May 31st, what you would do is you would print out your application and you would carry that as proof that your SBR was filed for, and that would get you by until receiving your stamp. So everything else is out the window. They are null and void. You're done. So if you are indeed handicapped, that does not give you the right to carry a brace anymore. You still have to SBR it. So firearms, blah, 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 may be submitted to ATF for reclassification. All that good stuff. Basically, what they're saying is if you are handicapped and you actually do need this, we've changed our mind, you will comply. So do your Form 1. So now, the actual term for the rifle, it's one that's equipped with a accessory component or other rearward attachment. They've added a stabilizing brace that provides surface area that allows the weapon to be fired from the shoulder, provided other factors, as described in paragraph 2, indicate the weapon is designed, made, and intended to be fired. A lot of you had questions on the actual foam things allowed to be fired from the cheek. They do not consider that additional surface area. That question was asked, so you are allowed to leave your little foam bits on there, just no pieces or parts that make it easier to shoulder like a brace would. So this is talking about the surface area of the actual brace, what they are now calling a stock, and the length of pull, all that good stuff to make it legality. Give you a second to read through that. So if it's something like a SIG where it doesn't require a buffer tube, then that remains a pistol. So pretty simple stuff. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, because now they're saying that anything with an eye relief that requires the weapon to be fired from the shoulder is now a rifle. So that's insane. But if your pistol has an eye relief or even a magnifier, that came up. If you have like an EOTech with a magnifier, well, that is now a rifle. You got to SBR it. So that is extremely troublesome, but it is what it is. These are their rules, not ours. Obviously, is what it is. If the manufacturer's direct and indirect marketing and promotional materials indicate the use of the firearm and information demonstrating the likely use of the firearm in the general communication. I hate that they use the word weapon. We all know that these aren't weapons; they are firearms. But you got to love the ATF and their good stuff. We got to criminalize this as much as we can and call it a weapon, even though we all know it's no different than a paperweight until the person makes it that way. So here's your surface area. Any of these things that we've seen, even the blades, you got to SBR it. So if your AR pistol is the same weight, yep. The indicator that shoulder firing the weapon provides stabilization and is beneficial in firing the weapon. Thus, the firearm is designed and intended to be used this way. Got to SBR it. It's a rifle. If you can't hold it up, you need to shoulder it. It's a rifle. Here, they're now saying known commercial stock, shoulder brace, same, SBR it. Here's the Micro Ronis, basically saying that it does not require a tube in order to function, so therefore those are definite braces, and you got to SBR it. They aren't serialized, so what do? If you put your Glock 19 in it, the stamp belongs to the Glock 19. So for all of you Micro Roni guys that are waiting on this ruling, there it is. So your pistols on the side over there, they don't require a tube, but they do have the brace on it. You can take the brace off and maintain it as a pistol, and you're fine. Or your MP5 collapsing stock, you can take that off. The pistol will still function. It's still a pistol. If you leave that collapsible stock on there, that is now an SBR. You need to stamp it. Here's what they're just talking about: length of pull. If it was designed to be worked with the brace, they're calling it a rifle now. Adjustable telescopic attachment that lock into place, provide horizontal support. Boom, you got to SBR it. Normal length of pull. They're adding doldrum here in order to make sure that there's no way this will come up in the future. Basically stating that this entire thing was designed to be used as a rifle the entire time. Therefore, you got to SBR it. This eye relief stuff is going to jam people up. Basically, if you have to shoulder it in order to look down the optic, that is now a rifle designed to be used that way, and you got to SBR it. My advice would be, if you want to leave it a pistol, change the optic immediately. Here's your classic definition of a rifle, exactly the way shooting it. There's your, what we would previously have called a pistol, with obviously, which is what, a 14-inch barrel out there. It's got an eye relief on an optic, but it's got a brace on it. Therefore, that is now a rifle. Even if he takes that brace off, because in theory it will function still without a tube, because of the eye relief optic, that is not a pistol. It is now a rifle, and you have to SBR it. These are all eye relief, even the thermal. Therefore, those are all rifles. Those are all SBRs. Here's the foam, basically stating that this was not designed. They answered this in the Q&A, and they said that the buffer tube, this little foam piece, is okay. So here's the picture that they actually used. Spring, buffer, they're going through all the definitions again, making sure you can and absolutely will get hemmed up, SBR it. Rearward Attachment. On the right, we have pistols. If you leave them on there, the top right is a pistol, top left is an SBR, bottom left is an SBR, bottom right is an SBR because the brace is still attached. So if they're marketing it to be used like this, it's an SBR. Once again, they're using the word weapon. I hate that. It's a firearm. Oh, they did use the word firearm right there in the general community. Good job, ATF. Basically, those are both SBRs. Final rule, unlicensed possessors. So don't get hemmed up. FFRs that are not qualified under the NFA as a Class 1 importer or Class 2 manufacturer special SOT holder like us includes FFLs who are qualified under the NFA as a Class 3 dealer. So basically, take your braces off, boys. FFL importers or manufacturers under the GCR that are qualified under the NFA as Class 1, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and let's not forget, certain government entities, we're not going to say which ones, are always going to be exempt. Basically what they're saying here is if they want to go after a township, they can. They want to keep it to government use. They don't want, your small township department of police having SBRs because then the public will want them. So it's kind of BS, but, no free rides. Tax forbearance. Now, this is your $200 in free tax stamps. This is what they're saying here. Individuals, FFLs, FFL, SOT dealers will not be subject to the $200 making tax for SBRs in their possession. So you had to have already had it. You cannot transfer a lower after the date of January 31st and make an SBR and stamp it. You had to have proof that it was in your possession before January 31st. As long as they timely submitted E-form by May 31st, may the force be with you. All the dates and times are the same for importers. Basically, if you've got a lower on the way or you've got a delay on the way, you need to not make it a pistol. It is a rifle at this point. They call it a tax forbearance, but basically you don't owe the $200. You get a free tax stamp. You will comply. So you can remove the short barrel and attach a 16-inch or longer rifle barrel to the firearm. So you want to keep your brace on it. It's now considered a stock. You make it a rifle. Permanently remove and dispose of or alter the stabilizing brace such that it cannot be reattached. They're basically telling you to destroy it without using those words. Turn the firearm into your local ATF office. There you go. You can destroy it. Cut the receiver. Weld it shut. Slice it shut. Basically saw through the receiver. Register the weapon as set forth below depending on your category of possessor. I'm glad they used the simple terms. This is actually a registry. This is what they've done. They have made this a registry for firearms. Here's your non-licensee possessors, basically people that do not already possess an FFL. Tells you, I'm going to do another video on how to create a Form 1. We've got all that for you. Must have had possession before January 31st. You're not required to pay the $200. You may adopt the markings on the firearms for purposes of the E-Form 1 if the firearm is marked in accordance with blah, blah, blah. Basically, if it's an arrow lower, then you just give them that information. If the firearm is not so marked, i.e. it was an 80% receiver, then the individual must mark the firearm as required by federal law. Bring it to us here at the ranch. We can throw your name, city, state on it and all that good stuff. Generally, it runs about $55. It's not that expensive, but then you can register your SBR, get your free stamp. Here's your FFL stuff. This really doesn't apply to you guys. It's more on our end. Luckily here, pretty much anything that's an SBR for us is already a machine gun, so we don't need an SBR stamp on top of the machine gun stamp because the machine gun stamp already does that. So we really don't have anything that we need to worry about here, but other FFLs might. And then, of course, they're looking at a 6 to 9 month transfer. Which is what the entire purpose of this was. More BS. If you want to continue dealing with SBRs, it's going to be normal SBR business, 6 to 9 months, maybe even longer. And then all affected firearms currently in inventory tax-free on E-2. We got until May 31st to comply to transfer affected firearms after January 31st. The SBRs must be registered in the national blah, 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 in a Form 4 or Form 3. And this is, they are not going to waive the $200 is what they're telling you. So you got to do a regular SBR at that point. Government entities, you got to put them on paper. So your little tiny town police departments, Buckeye Lake, for example. Buckeye Lake, if you've got any SBRs, you need to do your Form 10. Government wants to know that they're out there. That way, if they get stolen out of your cruisers, blah, blah, blah. They can put people in jail. Hem them up. New acquisitions, the SBR must first be registered in the registry, and then a Form 4 must be submitted and approved. Of course, 6 to 9 month wait, probably longer now. Any SBR with a stabilizing brace that is newly made or acquired after January 1st will be subject to the regular NFA Form 1. Good luck. And here's your websites. I'm going to leave this one up for a couple seconds. You can pop in, pop through. I know you can't copy and paste off of a video, but if you can write them down. This is also all available on the ATF website. I just wanted to kind of put my voice to a couple things that we heard today on the Q&A section to kind of clear things up a little bit. That way you guys had something to go off of. Any questions, of course, you can get right to. I love the ATF email fire tech. That's hilarious. Get right through to them and ask the experts tab within the eForms application. But I will say this, in the Q&A section, they had a lot of questions they absolutely would not answer just because they just said, we've gone over this before, which we didn't hear Nikes on it. So if you got questions, shoot me an email, jerryc@thebulletranch.com, or stop by and see one of our friendly staff members. Basically, everybody asked questions about how can you do this? You can't make laws, and they went right back through and quoted all the codes from Congress that did in fact give them that. I know the Tinfoil Hat Club out there is saying they're the ATF, they can't do this, they can't do that, they can't do this. And they went back through, answered all those questions, and proved the fact that actually they could. And they did, and there will be no lawsuit that goes through to challenge this or fight this until we get a different set of politicians in office, and maybe a new director of the ATF. That's my opinion, of course. Yours may vary. My advice is either take your brace off or be ready to have your stamp. I don't know how many are going to comply. It's on y'all, not on us. We're not here to tell you what you should do or shouldn't do. We're just here to pass on the information as we received it. Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. So give us a call if you got any questions, 740-964-1787. Talk to you.